Hello, this is Megan.
And this is Mark.
Welcome to our 36th video of the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge construction at Disneyland. Today is January 5th, 2019.
First of all, workers are adding concrete to the spire. We'll go ahead and continue watching them for a little bit. Now over on this spire, mesh sheets are being added to the top of welder wire mesh. Once the mesh sheets are in place, a concrete overlay will be added to the mesh. And here we can see a crane lifting roofing supplies. They're being lifted to the top of the Millennium Falcon show building. Workers are getting stacks of insulated roof panels ready to be transported. Next, we'll go on Chippendale's treehouse to view Black Spire Outpost. From here, we can see that color has been added to the spire. Let's take a closer look. It really has quite a variety of different colors. This is what it looked like last month, and I'll dissolve the picture back to what it looks like now.
Today is January 12th, 2019.
The rock spires during the early morning hour has a backlit glow we're not accustomed to seeing. Looks really nice. Work is continuing to be done on these spires. On the bottom portion of the spire, notice that concrete has been added over the mesh sheets since we've been here last. Now looking at the spires to the right of this one, a pulley is being used to transport supplies to a worker. The worker is applying touch-up concrete to the spire. This worker over on this spire is doing the same. The side opening of the Rise of the Resistance show building has been sealed up. This is what it looked like last time we were here, and I'll dissolve the picture back to what it looks like today. Now we're located on Tarzan's treehouse. From here we still have a view of the workers on the spire. They're continuing to perform concrete work. If we look down to where Black Spire Outpost is located, we have a good view of the color that has been added to a rock spire. This is the same spire that we observed last week from Chippendale's treehouse, viewing it now from the other side of the spire. Next, we'll go on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. From here we can see that a new dome has been installed. This dome can be recognized on the official Galaxy's Edge model. Now if we look up to the rock formations above where the Millennium Falcon attraction will be, we can see the amazing detail of a rock arch. The loose rocks behind the arch is a nice added touch as well. And I have to say, the attention to detail is outstanding. We're on Chippendales and we can see that the top of the dome for the cantina has been put in place. We're back to where we first started the day, and we can see that workers are continuing to add detail to the spires.
Today's January 19th, 2019.
Workers are adding sheets to the back end of the rock structures that they started installing back in October 2018. It'll be interesting to see if the sheet layer will eventually be covered with concrete, just like we saw with the spires. Or will be left exposed to absorb sound, which will be very similar to the function of the backside of Cars Land. Only time will tell. Last week we noticed that the side opening was sealed up with wall paneling. And it's hard to imagine, located on the other side of this wall is a First Order docking bay, where Stormtrooper animatronics, droids, a TIE fighter, and an incredible view of space will be. And as we all know by now, starting with speculation and eventually hints announced by Disney and other sites, the entrance to the main show building to the docking bay will be through this transport. There's been a lot of speculation on how guests will be transferred from this transport to the docking bay. Some people feel that guests will be using the Omni-Table ride system. The ride system is a continuous loading attraction. This method would require a moving walkway or a turntable to enter the pods. Megan and I feel this is not the approach that Disney will be taking. We still feel our original thoughts that we talked about approximately a year ago, I believe it was part 19, is the most likely scenario. Megan created a drawing and animation to demonstrate this for part 19. We'll go ahead and look at that again. This drawing is a cross-section of the area looking from above, illustrating how the inner pod of the spacecraft could possibly be transferred and rotated within the show building. This blue area represents the spacecraft under the rock cavity. The gray circle is a cylindrical structure, and the light gray section below is the docking bay. And the black dots represents the guests. We believe that once you enter the spacecraft, you will enter a pod with a video screen in front, similar to Star Tours, to view the location of the craft. Once the ride begins, the pod will be transferred to the cylindrical structure and rotate. More than likely, there will be multiple pods within the cylindrical structure. We're using 3 as an example, but there could be more. At this point, an empty pod could be put into the spacecraft for loading passengers while the previous pod continues on the adventure. And it is possible that a lot of the motion will be on the left side of the structure to allow for more vertical movements, since the left side of the structure is taller, as seen here from June 2017. The ride simulates that the spacecraft leaves the planet Batuu and then gets intercepted by the First Order. The pod then rotates and enters a hull of a spacecraft that looks exactly the same as the outer hull of the spacecraft that is located underneath the rock cavity. All the passengers will exit the spacecraft into the First Order docking bay. And then the pods recirculate to pick up more passengers. And the cycle continues. After the attraction opens and we find out that we're totally wrong, Megan and I will probably have a good laugh looking back at these videos. Although it's fun to speculate, trying to figure out the mechanics of the ride. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Alright, looking to the left, we can see that workers are continuing to perform concrete work on one of the spires. Concrete work is being done on this spire as well. The worker on the right is adding concrete. Now the workers are using hand trowels to put shape to it. This spire can be recognized on the model. The portion of the spire that they're working on is located approximately here. It is the part of the spire that's extending out. The worker continues to add the concrete. And now he's putting shape to it. Next, we'll go into Critter Country to view the spire from that perspective. The workers are continuing to add concrete and put shape to it. We'll go ahead and continue watching them for a little bit. Next, we'll go to Chippendales to view Black Spire Outpost. Here we can see that more dome panels have been added to the cantina. A side panel of the cantina is being lifted by a crane. We'll watch them install it into position.
Today is January 26, 2019.
We're in Tarzan's treehouse, and from here we can see that the top two levels of scaffolding has been removed from the spire. This is what it looked like 2 weeks ago, and I'll dissolve the picture back to what it looks like today. These workers are in the process of painting where the horizontal beams were removed and the concrete patchwork was done. Next, we'll go on Chippendale's treehouse to see what has changed from that perspective. We can see here that the remaining dome panels still need to be added to the cantina. So nothing much has changed since the last time we were here, but if we slide to the left, we can see that workers are removing scaffolding from the spire. Now we'll go on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad to see what the spire looks like without the scaffolding from that perspective. From here we have a good view of the tower extending out of the spire. It still needs to be painted and a little more detail work needs to be done, but it is definitely coming along. Well, that's a taste of things to come.
We can't wait to see what they build next.